let's get this started. Alright, so the thing about digital comics. Why I prefer digital comics. Uh, but to get this out of the way, I don't consider myself a hardcore collector whatsoever. I don't get endless amounts of number ones or things like that. I will have physical copies of stuff that I really, 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 really enjoy. Like, from Ollie's, I got the whole Death of Superman trade set up. Also from Ollie's, I managed to grab a few old EU like Star Wars omnibuses from Dark Horse. Um, just looking at my shelf now, I see the physical copy of Dark Horse's Aliens. It's the one where originally they were supposed to continue Ripley's journey uh, with Newt and Hicks, but then they changed the names. But the version I have is the names are changed back to what they're originally supposed to be. Let's see what other physicalities on my shelves. Well, yeah, there's Meta Barons and its sequel. Trekker's also on there. I mean, I only have a handful of things. Even with books, I'm starting to get most of Heroes Unleashed over there. Got Mr. Delarosa's Stars Entwined and the Stars Asunder and everything else like that. And Colony Launch is in there. Mr. Wright's Somewither. But I also have the digital copies of all those things. Even with Meta Barons and everything, I picked up the digital copies because the digital to me is more portable. I can bring it wherever I want to. Um, the digital is also a good backup if I don't want to, basically mess up the physical books, by like reading through them because it's just normal wear and tear. A handful of things I really enjoy. Yeah, I just want to keep them in good condition for longer. Uh, but I get why a lot of comic book shops would hate digital because that takes away a physical sale from them. If the person's not even interested in the physical. Uh, the biggest thing I've seen, yeah, a lot of comic book shops or hobby shops that are still around me, they're they're not really convenient to drive to. Like I don't have one that's like on the corner. When I was a kid, comic books were everywhere, not just in specialty shops, but they were in grocery stores, they were in bookstores, they were just on the spin rack, so you could easily get somebody picking up a story and then keep going with it if they wanted to. But with comic books nowadays, like all those endless seas of number ones, majority of them probably won't have any value beyond the next 5 years. Most of the comic books that get people buco bucks is like stuff from the Gold, Silver Age, Bronze Age, things like that. Or like a number one that introduces a character that became a mainstay later. At least that's my thinking for for that particular thing. I'm no expert at all. It's just what I've seen that, when I do happen to pop into a hobby shop, what is marked up as more expensive or as more of a collector's item. Um, yeah, and right now I use things like Ollie's and third-party trade selling websites if I want to get physical stuff. So that way, I can basically tell Marvel and DC to fuck off, and I'm gonna buy what I want. They, they've basically. I'm sorry, hobby shops, but Marvel and DC have shot you in the foot, and they've shot themselves in the foot. There's not enough collectors to go around to keep a lot of these stores going, so that's why it's hard for me to find any stores that are completely just selling comics. They're Funko Pop stuff out the ass most times, or they might have like T-shirts and other memorabilia, but a lot of them don't solely focus on comics anymore. A lot of them have to have a lot of different things put in there to keep them going. And but yeah, so yeah, ease of use, at least for me, because I know a lot of people, like, depending on what generational gap you're in, uh, the the way my brother and I grew up, computers were still being integrated, and we were used to the fact that, like, hey, this is some digital content. I mean, sure, we have some physical games. Own more physical games than physical movies of stuff I really enjoy, like I've said, but I have it's like a premium on space. Half the attic is filled with some of my old book collection and a few, I think I had like 4 or 5 long boxes shoved up there. So yeah, it's like half the attic is my shit. So, um, yeah, to conserve physical space, only those things I know I'll go back to again over and over and over and over will get some of that shelf space. Digital lets me have an endless library of Alexandria that I could just be like, poop, it's there. Just gotta grab that book. I can reread it at my leisure, and there's that. I know people don't like the fact that they can change the files on you or in DRM and stuff, but in the digital age, there's ways around that. Like if you legitimately bought something, you can get the DRM removed if you want to. Um, but yeah, I totally get it. The people who prefer the physical are the ones that are the hardcore collectors. I'm not a hardcore collector. So the physicality of something doesn't matter to me as much unless it's say something like when Babylon 5 eventually gets around to putting a release on Blu-ray, I'm probably going to pick that up because my DVDs are basically kind of falling apart now, especially season 3. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I'll usually back up certain things like with physical copies. Like I have a physical copy of Record of Lodoss War and everything. Again, it's just a handful of stuff that gets that coveted it's in a physical format spot. As far as books go, I have all of Harrington as physical copies, but I also have it all as digital and also on Audible. It, yeah, when it comes down to it, digital is just purely its convenience, its portability. People can read it on the go, usually on their phone or tablet. It doesn't have to be perfect where you can like see the art in your hand and all that stuff and like flip the pages. Like no, it's just sheer convenience, and most people nowadays are used to doing stuff with the physical format unless they want to get a particular collector's item. Like even at work, we have a bunch of these magazines that are collector's editions of various things that cycle in and out. But my store doesn't carry books anymore because the physical books just did not sell. The stores that are usually along the interstate will have more books because people pick it up and like if they're a passenger in the car, they'll probably read the book or maybe even pick something up in the airport. But that doesn't happen as often because you'll see just more and more people reading off their tablets and things. Yeah. But I get where all the sides are coming from. I really do. But it's just my preference to mostly go for digital. That's just all there is to it. And you can strip the DRM from stuff. You just gotta look at some websites that can tell you how to do it. Because if you legally own something, like boom, just strip the DRM, you can plop it anywhere. I get that most of the big corporations like, oh, we don't want you to steal our stuff, but you know what? Most people end up using a lot of pirating sites to check stuff out to be like, oh, is this woke tripe? Okay, bypass. Oh, it's not even worth pirating, but some people still do just to look at the train wreck. Yeah. And in some cases there's like the localization factor, like is this particular medium popular enough to warrant it being released outside its home country? Is there enough interest? A lot of these corporations they'll only really port something over if there's enough actual interest, and then they butcher the translation. And then what are people supposed to do then? Like a good example of this is even 12 Kingdoms, the light novels. I do have some of the physical copies of what Tokyo Pop released way back when, but I had to go online to this one guy's particular website to find the rest of the books that were never translated, and then I picked up the books that everything he's done, because it was translated better than even the Tokyo Pop versions. It's like, what are you gonna do? It's like digital format has helped me find stuff that is not released even over here. And I make backup files of my favorite things. Like, you just pop it into a couple of flash drives, like, boom, there. It's preserved. Um, I know stuff can get damaged where you can lose some of the digital files, but again, that's why you make backups. And if it's something you really, really love, then buy the physical copy. That's about it. Have a good day, everybody.